One of the biggest challenges men all over the world, including myself, face is making tough decisions at critical times and seasons of our lives. Sometimes, we find ourselves in situations which impels for desperate measures, and as a result, we make decisions too hastily and too quickly without taking our time to examine everything all the way through. Lives are always interlaced in millions of different ways. We are all interconnected. Whatever decisions we make right now, knowingly or unknowingly, could affect somebody positively or negatively. With that said, my people, let's go find out from Ragged Man who or what comes to mind first when making decisions, and when we return, alternative truths from our best friend, who always tells me that if anyone should speak, they should do so as one who speaks the very words of God. This is my best friend and I.
When you're making executive decisions, like delicate decisions, who is the first person you think of before you draw the line, like, okay, this is the decision I'm taking?
I kind of like to always check things from almost every angle, because I believe for every action there's a reaction. So before I take a particular decision, I think things over from different angles, especially if it's related to other people. Before I make a decision, it's about thinking about a whole lot of people. And that's one of the biggest pressures an entertainer has to handle. So I don't just think about me, I think about a whole lot of people.
To make rash, hasty decisions shows that you are not trusting the Lord. But when you rely totally on God, you still act carefully and prudently. Proverbs 28, the 25th verse. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or empty pride, but in humility, consider others more important than yourselves. Philippians chapter 2, the 3rd verse. So then, just as one trespass brought condemnation for all men, so also one act of righteousness brought justification and life for all men. For just as through the disobedience of one man many were made sinners, so also through the obedience of one man many will be made righteous. Romans chapter 5, the 18th to the 19th verse.
Welcome back, beautiful people. That was Alternative Truths from my best friend. Just because you can have a baby doesn't mean you should, especially without planning for one or getting married first. It is believed that the majority of the kids in Africa are born out of wedlock. That means absent fathers and mothers, but mostly fathers. So to the real men out there, Charlie, make we man up and straighten things, cause we be the head. All the decisions we they make, like having babies without the intentions of settling with the mother, they make things so complicated, especially in the life of the young chap and that of the mother. After all, who wants to settle with born one or born two? The conversations we have every time? For real, yeah. With that said, brethren, let's go find out from Ragged Man why he intends not to have a child out of wedlock. And when we come back, alternative truths from my best friend, who always tells me that if anyone should speak, they should do so as one who speaks the very words of God.
You not wanting to have a child out of wedlock, how important is that for you? Do you think a child who's born out of wedlock will face a lot of challenges?
I vowed not to have a child out of wedlock. Yeah, I did that a long time. I vowed that a long time ago. And by God's grace, I've been sticking to that. I actually want my wife to have my kids, not my girlfriend. And I really don't like the fact where you put a woman in the family way, but then she's not in your family. You get her pregnant, she has a child for you, but you don't marry her into your family. Especially, now just imagine a girl who's in school. Let's say she's in uni. Let's say 200 level or something. And then you get her pregnant. And then she has to go through the 9 months. And then somewhere along the line she has to pause the education because she won't be able to be going to school if she's that heavily pregnant. And then once a child comes into it, it's a whole different ballgame. She has to take care of the baby and everything else that comes with it. And while all this is happening, time is going. So why in the world would you want to interrupt somebody else's life like that and then not be there?
No one born out of wedlock or any descendants of such a person, even in the 10th generation, may be included among the Lord's people. Deuteronomy chapter 23, the 2nd verse. Be faithful to your own wife and give your love to her alone. Children that you have by other women will do you no good. Your children should grow up helping you, not strangers. So be happy with your wife and find your joy with the woman you married. Proverbs 5, the 15th to the 18th verse. Likewise, husbands, live with your wives in an understanding way, showing honor unto the woman as the weaker vessel, since they are heirs with you of the grace of life, so that your prayers may not be hindered. 1 Peter chapter 3, the 7th verse.
That was alternative truths from my best friend, who always tells me that if anyone should speak, they should do so as one who speaks the very words of God. The most beautiful makeup of a woman is passion. If you want something said, ask a man. If you want something done, ask a woman. What moves you when you see a woman? This is a question I would love to leave men to ponder over as we go find out who a modern day woman is to ragged man. And when we return, alternative truths from my best friend. This is my best friend and I.
Who is the modern day woman to you?
The modern day woman to me is the woman who's out there right now. I don't care what she's doing. I don't care. It's not about she living on her own, has her own car, works for herself. This independent woman or non-independent woman they throw around. To me, those are just tags. Because I believe if you go after a woman because of the size of her breasts, what if you now see another woman with a bigger one? What happens? Then you have a problem. But if you go after the woman because you like the woman, you connect with the woman, that won't change. You can design your perfect woman, you can design your perfect man, but you can never, ever pick who you fall for. If you get to decide who you fall for, that means you're picking because of maybe certain interests. I see some ladies or some men, sometimes they go, does she have money? Does he have money? So if that's why you decide to date this person, then obviously that will probably hit the rocks maybe one day when he or she has financial issues.
Who can find a worthy woman? For her price is far above rubies. Proverbs 31, the 10th verse. She is like a trading ship that sails to far away places for exotic surprises. She is up before dawn, preparing breakfast for her family and organizing her day. Proverbs 31, the 14th to the 15th verse. She is a hard worker, strong and industrious. Proverbs 31, the 17th verse. Charm can mislead, and beauty soon fades, you know. The woman to be admired and praised is the woman who lives in the fear of God. Proverbs 31, the 30th verse. Your beauty should not come from outward adornment such as braided hair or gold jewelry or fine clothes, but from the inner disposition of your heart, the unfading beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is precious in God's sight. 1 Peter chapter 3, the 3rd to the 4th verse.
That was alternative truths from my best friend. I'm still asking, my good friends, what moves you when you see a woman? You know what? Reputation is who people think you are, but integrity is who you really are. Reputation is the state in which a person is held by the public in high esteem. Integrity describes how you act. It is the characteristic of you regardless who is watching. Let's find out from Ragged Man what he values the most, reputation or integrity. And when we come back, alternative truths from our best friend.
Integrity and reputation. Which one do you value?
Well, for me, obviously, I value integrity because that will last longer. That shows that you're actually a genuine person. That shows you're good. That's to those who are actually looking out for it, and for those who understand it, and then for those who respect it. Because that's, to me, when you're looking at Nigeria, that's something that's been thrown out the window like ages ago. Unfortunately, even down to our rulers. Yeah. Because right now it's beginning to look in Nigeria as if, the bad things are cool and then the cool things are bad. You see a hungry guy on the street, he maybe steals a loaf of bread, and then he's lynched. If he's lucky, the police will come save him. And then you see one of our politicians who's actually been allocated millions of naira to do things for the constituency, which they do not do. But then you suddenly see them driving Rolls-Royce Phantoms, you see the Ferraris, and they're traveling abroad like every 2 seconds. And that man or woman obviously is stealing a whole lot more than a loaf of bread. Then that's situations like that. You see the so-called people who lynch the man who stole a loaf of bread. You see when this other politician is passing, they're all railing him, hoping to get some crumbs. And then unfortunately he's been protected by the police who arrested the man who stole the loaf of bread. And then they forget why that man stole the loaf of bread. It was because the man they're protecting is not doing what he's supposed to do, which will create jobs and fix roads, to make that man who stole the loaf of bread not so hungry to steal a loaf of bread.
The integrity of the upright guides them, but the unfaithful are destroyed by their duplicity. Proverbs 11, the 3rd verse. It is dangerous to be concerned with what others think of you, but if you trust the Lord, you are safe. Proverbs 29, the 25th verse. And he said to them, you are the ones who justify yourselves among men, but God knows your heart, for what is highly admired by people is an abomination in the sight of God. Luke chapter 16, the 15th verse.
Here we are again. That was alternative truths from our best friend. With that said, folks, be a good man, take care of your family, and be the head that God has designed you to be. Till next time, have a good one.
Farewell. All we aim in this life is to excel. For each day passes by with its own hell, but I foresee more joy than more tears as the African bleeds, ease all stress. The rainbow, the sunshine, and them thick trees. The war stories no more, they're on the decrease. So this new day gives me a great peace to announce to this world you walk home as you play on my turf field at home. We a beautiful, suitable, calm zone. And as you move up and down, you're not alone. It's a hooray and a hoorah. It's a party and it don't stop. Cause some moms keep jumping and they won't quit. Celebrating life, man, till we on top.